Okay. So essentially, what's happening with the GameStop situation is a company can short a stock. All that means is they sell it without actually owning the stock. I know that sounds crazy and it is kind of bullshit, right?
Okay.
So they sell it, right? So let's say they sold GameStop at $10 and they sell it at $10 because they're hoping that the price goes down. Because after you short sell, you have to buy back in. You can't just short sell something and never buy it, right?
It's a promise.
Yeah, it's a promise. Exactly. So what they do is they short sell it at a higher price. they they wait till it drops and then they buy back in at a lower price and then they keep the rest as profit. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, so what they were doing was they were massively short selling GameStop to a point that it was just destructive to the company. I mean, it hurts the company because it looks like the stocks just start dropping. People are like, "Oh my God, they're selling these stocks like crazy. I should get out." And then they start selling. It creates a panic. It's market manipulation. That's what
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
And they did it on a super high level because they shorted over 140% of available stocks, which makes no sense. How can you sell something that isn't even available, right? So this guy on Wall Street bets, he saw it and he saw an opportunity because if you short sell that much, you're risking a lot, right?
Okay.
So if enough people bet and raise the price above that
Good
short
value.
selling point,
Okay.
then the short seller has to buy in at a loss. And it's when they buy in at a loss that everyone who owns the stock gets a profit. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's what they did. They're trying to force the hedge fund to buy in above their short selling price so that they can reap the rewards. So it's like a wealth transfer. The money goes from the guy who's short selling, the hedge fund, into the pockets of the everyday investor, the people on Wall Street bets.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what happened. And word spread on Reddit and other social media, and people saw, holy shit, they're this hedge fund manager is like squeezing the life out of GameStop. They're short selling way, way too much. Let's raise the price, and then we'll make them pay for their risky bet. And at the end, we can sell out and get a nice little profit, right?
Okay.
So So that's what happened in a nutshell. So GameStop is just a battleground, right? Yes, some people wanted to defend GameStop, and they defend other small, not small companies, but like AMC. People are defending AMC because they don't want. You and me love going to the movies. You especially love going to the movies. I
Yes.
mean, we. How many times have we been to AMC? A million times, right?
Oh, definitely.
So the hedge fund managers come and they short sell it. Well, that can destroy the company and the company can go out of business. So in that case, people are investing in AMC because they don't want to lose the movies. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
GameStop was more of like a battleground because they just went insane and short sold so much that
But it is
um,
kind of a show of support, right?
it is kind of a show of support for the small guy. Now, GameStop isn't necessarily a small guy, and they have screwed over a lot of gamers over the years. Um, but it's not fair what the hedge fund managers are doing. That is a fact. And so the thing turned into like a flashpoint when the brokers said, we're not going to let you buy GameStop stocks anymore. And the biggest broker that was guilty of this was Robinhood, right?
Okay.
Now things turned very, very ugly when people found out that the company that gives most of their money to Robinhood is also the same company that bailed out the hedge fund that was shorting GameStop. That's what caused all the outrage.
Okay.
So people were saying, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Robinhood is keeping us from buying GameStop
Stock.
stock to protect the hedge fund that is shorting GameStop? Because what they did was they said you can't buy it, but you can sell it. So if you sell it, the price goes down and then the hedge fund manager loses less money. But if you can buy it, the price goes up and the hedge fund loses more money. So Robinhood made it so you could sell it to benefit the hedge fund manager, but they made it so you couldn't buy it to hurt the hedge fund manager. And that's what caused all the outrage. So it's kind of I mean, to me it looks like illegal market manipulation. That's what it looks like to me.
You said illegal?
Illegal, yeah, illegal. It looks like, first of all, naked shorting is illegal, and that's what it looks like Melvin Capital did. Now, let me say everything I'm saying is not financial advice. I don't want to be on the line for anyone doing anything.
I thought that was one of the main selling points of this channel.
I know. We are not financial advice at all. This is just a rundown of what happened.
Definitely not. I'm in debt. Look at my boxes.
Yeah, we buy a lot of games. Don't listen to us for anything. So yeah, that's what happened. In a nutshell, that's what happened. So,
but here's the thing: you haven't told us the name of the person that started this on Reddit, and I'm going to share that right now. It was Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah, Reggie Fils-Aimé.
And that's how he saved GameStop.
That's how he saved it. He was like, "Hey guys, I got a perfect plan."
Hey guys, I'm random Redditor 525.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's basically what happened. So, yeah, if you were wondering, if you haven't seen all the hype, that's what happened. CNBC tries to make it look like the Wall Street Bets guys are like, dude, Discord banned their Discord channel for hate speech.
Wait, what?
Yes,
you said Discord banned their Discord. Whose Discord channel? What are you talking about?
Wall Street Bets. They banned their Discord for hate speech.
Did they actually have hate speech though?
Yeah, there were some a-holes.
The first thing you said was, yeah.
No, here's the thing, Josie, here's the thing. There's a-holes in every online community. They can go in and find hate speech anywhere they want. Here's the thing. Why did they ban Wall Street Bets a day after the mainstream media started slandering them? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
I'm definitely a person of the, and we don't talk about this often, but yeah. I've definitely adopted a George Carlin worldview.
Yes.
Where if you're not part of the big club,
yes,
you're not part of it.
Yeah.
And you probably will never be.
And
so there's a lot of things that are just skewed to just F people over. And this is happening in real time. I'm interested to see if there's going to be any fallout, or if it's going to be, again, the status quo where the big guy gets away with hurting the little guy no matter what.
Yeah. And so to go on to make it seem even more conspiratorial is, after people started leaving 1-star reviews for Robinhood for what they did, Google
yes, erased the reviews.
Google deleted 100,000 1-star reviews on Robinhood's app. I mean,
yeah.
Why do they think that this is a good idea?
They're all protecting each other. It's a big club, and we're not a part of it.
Yes, but why do they think that, like, they can do it and not, and people aren't going to be like, do they think like they can just be like, hey guys, let's delete some of these negative reviews? No one's going to pay attention. It's like it's like there's a beehive and they're like poking it with a stick. Like they're just
Well,
like,
here's the thing. What's going to happen? Just because Google did that, what's going to happen? Are people going to stop using Google? Are you gonna
no,
sell your Android phone?
that's the thing. You can't because they're powerful. And here's the thing. I love some Google products. I use it all the time, right? But like they don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like they can
But they
still
can't if they can get away with it.
I
So if
know.
they can keep getting away with it, then what's going to change?
Well, here's the latest scoop.
And what needs to happen to change things?
What needs to happen is the first thing that needs to happen is the SEC needs to do an investigation into what happened between the hedge fund manager and the brokers, right? That's
Okay, and
step
the
one.
SEC is filled with whom? Corporate Democrats?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, okay, here's the thing. The SEC already put out a statement saying that they're looking to support retail investors, which is us, over the institutional investors. Now, what I think's going to happen is they're going to get a slap on the wrist and like a $10 million fine, which is nothing to them because they've made billions. That's what I think is going to happen. But what really needs to happen is they need to take a deep look. Elon Musk said it best, and here's why Elon Musk is so against this: is because Tesla had the same thing happen to them years ago.
Yes.
The hedge fund managers started shorting their stock massively and trying to crush Tesla. It was the individual investors who came out and said, "No, I believe in this company. You know, American-made cars. I'm going to invest in Tesla." So that's why Elon Musk has such an animosity towards this, is because they tried doing the same thing to Tesla years ago. So, but he said it right. How are you able to sell something you don't own? Right? I can't come over and sell your house. I can't. I can't sell a bunch of your games on eBay, right?
Well, yeah, but by that same token, something like credit exists and has existed.
Yes,
Borrowing has existed since time immemorial.
it is.
You know, like
It is.
moneylenders are talked about in the Bible. Come on, man.
Yes, yeah. The tax collectors were in the Bible. So, no, I get it. I get leverage. I get credit. All that. But like, if you're gonna allow people to do this, it has to be in a way that you can't short over 100% of available stocks. That makes no sense.
So you're asking for regulation.
Regulation, yeah, but not regulation. So CNBC is calling for regulation on retail investors. They're calling for regulation on Wall Street bets. They're calling for censorship. That's not what I'm calling for. I'm calling for regulation on the market as a whole to make things more fair for the retail investors, right? And to be more fair for companies, you know? Um, not just getting the life squeezed out of them by these like billion-dollar entities. You know, that's just not fair. They have too much capital, you know? So
We'll see.
we'll see. We'll see. So that's it. That's what happened. So I'm probably not going to talk about it some more because I'm tired of it. I've been following it all week. I've seen a lot of very smart.
Did you buy stock in GameStop?
No, I bought stock in AMC because I want AMC to survive. I want to be able to go back to the movies again. So, um,
I missed the IMAX at Udvar Hazy.
oh
That's what
yeah, yeah. So yeah, all right. Let's move on to the next topic. Cyberpunk 2077 has released a new patch 1.1. This is a one of their substantive patches that's on their milestone. So here's the thing. The patch. So this is definitely good that they were transparent about when they're going to be releasing these patches and what they're going to be fixing. So let's just kind of do a quick rundown, and then I can talk about the fact that this patch did introduce a game-breaking bug. Um, so let's look at this.
that is
Holy,
really unfortunate that the patch that they released also breaks the game.
I know. So stability, they improve memory usage, fix some crashes. Uh, so they fixed a lot of quest issues. These are all quest fixes here. A lot of them seem to be Delamain, which is like he's the AI that controls a taxi cab company. Fix an issue where Takamura wouldn't call down into. So, from what I know, this was one of the game-breaking bugs with Takamura.
I haven't played the
Um,
game.
yeah, yeah, okay, you haven't played it. Well, I won't. I won't mention any plot things. UI, um, fix an issue where prompt for exiting brain dance could be missing. Yes, I got stuck in a couple of brain dances, so I'm glad they fixed this. Removed invalid items. Visual fixed issue where grenades trajectory. Okay. Achievements. So yeah, this is a good breakdown here. I'm probably gonna boot up the game just to because I already beat it and I
For which system did you get it?
PS4. I pre-ordered a long time ago and I just said
And
screw
did
it.
you
I'm
enjoy
gonna try
it?
to get through it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I enjoyed the story, but the bugs were comical. The bugs were comical. And infuriating at times because the game crashed on me about 5 times. So, but luckily my save data didn't corrupt, so I was able to continue. So,
Thankfully.
um, so I will say this: the game was released in such a poor state. It cannot be exaggerated how poor of a state the game was released in. Um, the fact that bug fixes initiate um, oh sexual healing on Twitch, which is my friend, he says talk about doing it with Keanu. So yeah, they removed the ability to have sex with Keanu Reeves in the game. um I don't know if it was to have sex with him or as him. um but they removed it, so I don't know why they removed that. um
That seems like a key feature.
It
Isn't he
does.
breathtaking?
It does. Now I did go to I'm sorry. I feel very guilt ridden about this. I did go to a brothel in the game just to see what it was like, and it was. I
Just
mean,
to see what it was like.
yeah, it
That
wasn't.
says every person ever.
I know, I know. Um,
I
by the way, you could do that in Witcher 3, right?
never played Witcher
Okay,
3.
I think you could. And then, of course, they had strip clubs in GTA 5. Anyways, it
Yeah.
was it was like a 2 minute clip. It was nothing. Like I did it once and then I was like, okay, I'm never gonna do this again. It didn't bring anything to the game for me. But I could see like a little kid being like, oh my god, this is insane, right?
What, having sex with Keanu Reeves?
Yes. Yeah. I
First
did
of all,
not get to.
I'm gonna cut you off there.
Okay.
This is a mature title, so a little kid shouldn't be playing it anyway.
Yeah. True. True. But if his parents save their credit card information to his system, he might be able to get away with it. Um, Anyways, I did not have relations with Keanu Reeves. I just want to say that. I never got to, and now I feel cheated. I feel cheated that I couldn't have relations with Keanu Reeves. But
I'm just imagining that it's like 2 minutes or so of him going, "Whoa, whoa."
his character, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything. You have to see his character in the game. It's
I mean, they showed him in trailers. He looks pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a very angry man. I'll just say
Oh,
that. He's a
fair.
very
Okay,
angry man.
gotcha.
Um, so yeah, that's it with Cyberpunk. They released the main patch 1.1, then they released the hot patch or a quick fix to remove Keanu from sex scenes. I don't. Maybe he got upset. Maybe his agent was like, "We don't want him in these memes all over the internet." I don't know.
Well, I'm waiting until we get the full fixed game in whatever
Yeah.
future that happens.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
I have the collector's edition of the game, and I still have yet to put it in because I was just like, nah, I can wait.
yes. I have the day one edition, which is pretty nice. I mean, it comes with a map and some, stickers and stuff like that. But I'm waiting. Look, I hate that game companies are just putting out more and more unfinished games because it's like we're physical collectors. Those game discs are trash. They're worth nothing because it doesn't have a working game on it. We can't 10 years from now when there's a new PlayStation, we can't plug that into an old PS4 and play the game. It's going to crash. It's going to break. So it's almost like you have to they're forcing you to buy the game. Like they're going to come out with an ultimate edition in 5 years and you're going to have to buy that for your collection because the original just won't work anymore. It's so frustrating.
That's why there's an argument to be made that game companies should look at the early access route
Hmm.
and kind of like what happened with Hades. Granted, it doesn't have a physical version yet, but it came out early access well before the full release occurred, and they were able
Yes.
to fix things, stuff like that.
Yeah. Um, Limited run, I'm looking at you. Please make a Hades physical edition. I will buy that in a
They will,
second.
and they'll do it right. I
Yes.
mean, every time they've done something like that, they always include all the patch notes so that
Yes.
you don't have to download any patches after getting the full physical
Yeah.
copy. So you have everything right then and there. They did that with Celeste. They did that with Panzer Dragoon most recently.
Hmm.
So no, they're great.
Yeah. So yeah, look.
We're not supported by them in any way, by the way.
Yeah. No,
It's just free
we just
publicity.
love them.
Yeah,
We just love. I mean, I just ordered King of Fighters 2000 collector's edition on PS4. So
nice. I just
yeah,
ordered Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the collector's edition.
I know, which is an insane collector's edition.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Konami has closed three of its gaming divisions. Now, I read over this article, and it said that while they closed three of their
Here's the thing, though, and I just want to cut you off real quick.
okay,
Closed is the incorrect term. They use dissolved. And the reason why we use dissolved is because they've consolidated what they did with those divisions into a separate division. It's like renaming.
okay, that's what I was gonna say. So yeah,
Oh,
maybe close is the wrong word. They restructured.
yes.
They restructured. So here's the thing: a lot of people are criticizing Konami because they have so many legendary IPs that they do nothing with. And you're a huge Castlevania fan.
Konami used to be one of my main favorite companies, like of all time. Like literally, I'm surrounded by Konami things. I've got
Yeah,
Castlevania stuff. I've got Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill.
yeah,
I love their games. Contra's another great one.
yeah.
And then
And
yeah,
as a retro collector, I mean, Konami has some of the best Nintendo games ever. You know what I mean? And it's like, but here's what the article said. The article said is that Konami as a business is doing phenomenal right now. They're doing amazing. So they don't have a fire under their butts to like kind of like put out a good gaming product. You know what I mean? They're just
it's because what they did in terms of focusing on what has been giving them the best revenue for little expenditure on their end is pachinko machines. And so, granted, us as gamers, we hate that move, but them as a company, it was a smart move for them.
it was. I mean,
It,
look,
it, it is, pardon, they're still doing it.
they're still doing it. Look, as a business, you want to have like a broad portfolio, right?
Yes.
You don't want to be like too reliant. Like if your main flagship product fails, you don't want to go bankrupt or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, look, these IPs just aren't yours 100%. Like you can't look at it as like, yeah, we can just shovel them away and nobody. There's people who care about these things. You know what I mean? Like there's communities built around them. I just saw a Doom mod for Castlevania. Somebody turned one of the older Castlevania games into a Doom game.
Project Warlord.
Yeah, people are
So
getting desperate, man.
so I disagree with you wholeheartedly
Yeah,
in terms of IPs not being theirs. They own those IPs. That granted, they're in the public conscience,
yeah,
but as far as ownership goes, they will own them. They will continue to own them. They created them. It's theirs.
yeah.
Like
No,
I
no.
can't I
I,
can't
I,
agree with you there.
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying like in the zeitgeist, they don't just own that.
Yeah, but they don't owe anything to us either in terms of like making things. And in that regard, that's why we get something like Metal Gear Survive, where they're like, "Oh, this thing is hot, people like it, whatever, just throw something out there." And it's trash.
Yeah,
They're gonna water down their brand. And so I'd rather them not bring out like BS than do that. Does that
yes,
make sense?
yeah,
So granted, they're not doing anything with it, but I think that is less harmful than bringing out crap.
yeah. No, I fully agree with you. But and here's something that I've been rolling around in my head. Like,
Because Silent Hill, and I'm just going to add on to this, Silent Hill has survived in terms of amazing storied game on maybe two games alone, Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 1.
hmm,
Silent Hill 3 was by and large a disappointment kind of after Silent Hill 2. And then
yeah,
Silent Hill 4, I mean it's gained some more popularity, but it was still kind of like an experiment
hmm,
that did fail. And
yes,
then Silent Hill Downpour and Silent Hill, oof, what was the other one called? Homecoming. They were just terrible.
yeah,
So, like it's just been downhill from there. But that franchise, if anyone says Silent Hill, they think of the amazingness, not the crap that became afterwards, the most recently.
yeah, yeah. But to be fair, Kojima put all that work into PT and then they did nothing with it.
Fair.
They had a
Fair.
framework for a great game and they just shelved it.
But that was also around the same time. It was unfortunate timing because that was the same time that they were completely restructuring their own business.
Yeah.
And they were saying and I mean like in a way game development is at fault because it's so expensive to develop for games. And when you put all this money into something like Metal Gear Solid 5, which they did, and they didn't have the kind of sales and returns that they needed in order to be like, yeah, this is completely justifiable. They saw that and they were like, this is ridiculous. Spending so much time and effort and all this money on just one game
Yes.
when we can go ahead and get like more than enough profit for the entire company on a few on Pachi slot,
Yeah.
like that's where the balance, the tip of the scales occurred.
Yes.
And as a business move, it made sense.
Yes.
For us consumers, we definitely do not like that, and I
No.
completely, I'm part of it.
Yeah. Um.
But I mean, but it's also led to this boom most recently of all these great indie games, all these smaller titles, because game development is getting too insane.
It is. It is. And you're right. It does. It does help indie development in a way because if people are craving a Castlevania, well, you had the director of Symphony of the Night branch off and make his
Made
own version.
Bloodstained,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's good. I love to see
And
that.
Bloodstained isn't demanding graphically.
No.
It's not what you would call a AAA title,
No.
but it was one of my favorite titles of that year. I loved Bloodstained, and it was a great throwback to Castlevania. It's Castlevania and everything but name only.
Yes. So this is what I propose, and I was thinking about it a lot. What I propose, obviously, no one from Konami is going to watch this, but what I propose is that they auction off these gaming IPs to studios that actually want to make these games, and they just wipe their hands of it because They clearly don't have any passion for them. They're not doing anything with them, and people want them. So why not sell them, make a good business move, make a profit off of them, and then let the story continue?
There's a flip side to that coin, and
Yeah.
that flip side is literally what they did before they even got rid of their gaming division, if you will,
Hmm.
is that they started to try to outsource game development with a lot of their games. Examples are Silent Hill Downpour and Homecoming. They were made by Western developers.
Yeah.
And you're giving it to people, but there's no guarantee that whomever you're giving your IP to, or you're letting your IP being borrowed from, will be successful. Case in point, Star Wars with EA.
Hmm.
Disney pretty much dissolved Lucasfilm Games,
Hmm.
but now they're bringing them back. But they dissolved it. They outsourced the Star Wars brand to EA. They had a 10-year deal, and EA did piss all with it. They did two Battlefront games, which were first person
Yes.
battle royale type games, and then they did Jedi Fallen Order, which granted
That was a
got
good one.
got some good
Yeah, that
reviews,
was a good
and
one.
then Star Wars Rogue Squadron. But Fallen Order and Rogue Squadron came after the disappointment from Battlefront 1 and
Yes.
2.
Yeah.
And that's within the span of 10 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just one example of a brand being used by another company incorrectly, I believe.
Yes. But I would rather have that than them just do nothing with it forever.
But that just goes back to my original thing that you agreed with, which is like, yeah, I'd rather not have bad games coming
Yeah, I'm
out of
not
these
saying
IPs.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You make good games. Like
Oh,
I'm not saying like just give them off to anyone and just let them like market off the title. I'm saying like give them to real developers that have their reputation on the line that are going to foster the growth of that IP. You know what I'm saying? Like
be very selective.
exactly. Don't just outsource it like, "Hey, we're going to ship it to this mobile developer that we don't no one even knows their name and they're just going to make a mobile version of this." No, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like
They did that with Castlevania.
I know. That's why I said that, but I'm talking about real games, real developers who have their whole reputation on the line because
No rules, just right.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, I mean
I'm talking about Outback. Get some steak.
so I mean, yeah, wouldn't you rather see that than them just sitting on these and them collecting dust?
I'd rather they sit on them than give them to developers that don't know what they're doing. Honestly, I
Yeah.
don't know. Name a developer that you would trust with Metal Gear Solid that isn't Kojima. Like I can see Blue Point remaking Metal Gear Solid 1. That's the popular rumor going on right
Mhm.
now. And they even had like Metal Gear Rex sound effects. There was in Demon Souls, the most recent version
Mhm.
of Demon Souls. But me playing the original Demon Souls and playing the new Demon Souls, I'm not a huge fan of the changes that they made both in art direction and in gameplay. Like they simplified it to an extent. Um, so in regards to that, like Metal Gear is direction and art direction. And
Yeah.
like if you change it, kind of like they did with Metal Gear Twin Snakes,
Mhm.
which I think is an inferior version of the original Metal Gear,
Mhm.
it serves little purpose than to what? Just to have an update? I don't know. Like like like
Yeah.
like how do you vet that whomever you have developing the game will show the utmost respect and keep things canonical? And there's a lot of factors to it that I just I I guess I'm a glass half empty kind of guy. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying and that's just my viewpoint.
Okay. Well, before we move on to the next topic, I'll just give one example where I think this was done perfectly.
Go ahead.
Um, you know, Hyrule Warriors.
What do you mean?
Y- the way that they handled the Zelda IP.
But here's the thing. You're you're forgetting that shoot Aonoma, the director of Breath of the Wild, he had a very big part in it. Koei Tecmo were working hand in hand with Nintendo to create Hyrule Warriors. It wasn't just like Nintendo says, "Here, do whatever you want with Zelda." They
Okay.
they had an active role and participation in the creation of that game.
Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't know that they were that like in lockstep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is
And
different
that's why
then.
Age of Calamity, that's why it's canon because they're working together to create it and make it cohesive with the Zelda mythos universe that they're building with
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild.
See, my thought of it was that they were making the game stand alone, but that they were just going back and forth with Nintendo to verify things. That was my standing. I didn't know that they were actually working with the actual team.
Yep.
That is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that doesn't apply. Well, I mean, I'm hopeful, man. I just
I
I
know.
just don't want Castlevania to die. I don't want Silent Hill to die. But
But I'd rather have Castlevania live on as Symphony of the Night, one of the best, 2D platforming action games out there, versus, Castlevania Harmony of Despair, a cash grab that's
yeah.
like a multiplayer cash grab that's out there, and it's just you reutilizing art assets, in just a bid to get
Yes.
money.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point. Maybe the best solution is just let indie developers fill the void, right?
Yeah, and create new experiences that
Yes.
play off of these older play styles because it's going to bring innovation to
Hmm.
it and new voices, new people to the scene. A good example literally is Hades.
Yes. Hades is a great example. All right. Cool. Cool. That was a good discussion. All right. Next up, we have some news regarding Xbox Game Pass. So Microsoft says they have over 18 million subscribers, and Xbox Live has over 100 million.
Interesting.
So this is recent. This is Q1 or Q2 of this year. So Xbox Game Pass has now hit 18 million subscribers, stated Microsoft CEO. Um, Now, we were kind of leading up to this last year. We covered a lot about Game Pass. We talked a lot about like its viability, the direction Microsoft is headed. Will it work out for them? And it seems to me like it's working right now. That's what it seems like to me. Um, they have a lot of now. I saw someone made a comment, and I have to bring this up because they make a great point. They were giving away their Game Pass subscriptions for $1 a month at the beginning.
Well,
So
it was $1 a month for a limited time, and then it shot up to like $14.
yeah, but how many of those people were on there for the dollar? Probably a lot, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once that dollar phase goes out, I don't know if they already stopped it. I don't know. We'll see
It's
what their
kind of like how
numbers.
Disney Plus inflated their numbers by having that deal with Verizon where you got Disney Plus for free for a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
that's inflated the numbers of their subscribers.
yes. So I believe, yeah, I believe the numbers are a bit inflated right now, but it's good for them. It's good for them because they went all in on the platform. Their games just aren't there yet. Um, Foundry did a breakdown of Medium. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen the Digital Foundry video, but I have been seeing videos for Medium, and it looks interesting. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem as interactive as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
Like there's not a lot of there's no combat.
yeah. And apparently, it's not next gen enough to actually show off the hardware of the Xbox.
It's unfortunate
And,
because it looked like it was going to be that way.
yes, and I think that's what Digital Foundry was kind of touching on was that like, hey, they touted this as one of their like unique next gen games, and it isn't. So
That's disappointing.
it is disappointing. They have a big commitment to fulfill with Halo Infinite. I will just say that. Halo Infinite better be freaking fantastic because they just don't have the games right now, man. They have the platform, they just don't have the games.
Temper expectations. That's all I can say. We don't want another cyberpunk situation.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Oh man, dude, can a game be as bad as Cyberpunk?
Well, I don't mean in terms of bugs. I mean in terms
Yeah.
of hype. Like I think
Oh,
a lot of issues arose from. Granted, CD Projekt Red did some heinous things,
oh my
especially
God.
lying, straight up lying. And whenever they say previous gen consoles, that is a straight up lie because the title or whatever branding you have on the box for your Cyberpunk and for my Cyberpunk, it says Xbox One. It says PS4. It
Yeah,
was meant to come out for those consoles.
yeah,
So when they say previous gen, that's just BS.
yeah.
Straight up lying.
And
But
here's what may here's the thing. They obviously designed this game for PC.
yes,
A
I mean
hundred percent.
they're first and foremost to see a PC
Yes.
company, a company that develops for PC.
Yeah. And I think that's great. I think I love seeing people dedicated to PC because there's more PC users in the world than there is any one platform. But you can't at the same time simultaneously market it for past gen consoles. That's just not going to work. And obviously they didn't want to water down the graphics and the scope of the game for past gen. They should have just cut. They should have just cut it loose, man. But they wanted that money. They wanted that money from those
That
past
cheddar.
gen. So yeah, Xbox. They're doing good with Game Pass. If they can keep it up, we'll see. But they need to get. And I'm not saying go out and buy up all these studios like Bethesda because I don't like that either. But they need to
What do you like?
get. They need to work. Uh, just do a good job on Halo. I'll just leave it at that. Do a good job on Halo.
Yes,
Um,
I concur.
yeah, do a good job on Halo. If they do a good job on Halo, I am saying it right now. I will buy 1 month of Game Pass. If Halo Infinite comes out and people are like, "Hey, man, this is pretty good," I'll say if even if it's a seven or higher. 7 is generous these days, but no, actually 7 is pretty hard to get a 7 these days. Actually, most people are like pretty generous with their reviews these days. If it's like a 7 or higher, I will buy Game Pass for a month.
Well, as long as they don't try to do the sneaky thing they did last week, where they tried to inflate the price.
Yeah, actually, let's touch on that. So, can you explain to everyone what happened with that?
So last week, I believe it was Friday, Microsoft came out and they said that they were doubling the price of Xbox Live. And I believe this was a ploy to move people that use Xbox Live to just buy into Game Pass
Ultimate.
instead. Game
Game
Pass,
Pass Ultimate, yeah.
Game Pass Ultimate. But consumers rightly used their voice, and Microsoft got a big backlash, so much to the point that in the same day they walked back that decision. They're like, nope, okay, we're going to keep it at the same price as it has been for the past however so many years.
Hmm.
Their original reasoning behind or justification, the price hike, is literally that, oh, there's a lot more people at home, so there's a lot more strain on our servers, what have you. And, you know, rightly so, people were like, well, there's a lot more people at home because there's a freaking pandemic. And we're trying to stay safe. And there's people that are unemployed. There's struggle all over the place. And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to double the price for things?
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's not right.
Yeah. Imagine if everyone just up and decided to double their service costs. No one would.
I just got a Netflix just emailed me and they're like, we're raising the price to $1, or we're raising the price by $1. And I was like, do I need Netflix?
Yeah.
And by the way, I wanted to respond to V in the chat. Um, I didn't re-up on my Disney Plus. I was like, I had it for free for a year. I didn't think it was worth it, so I don't have it.
Yeah. Um.
And you got to vote with your wallet, especially
Yes.
in times where money's kind of tight.
Yeah.
You got to really pick and choose what you're spending on. And I love Xbox Live. I own it. I do play on my Xbox quite a bit, and I also love the games that they
Hmm.
have available. I'm excited for next month. Oh, I forget which one's coming out, but anyways, um, I think that forcing you to get Game Pass is a misstep in terms of understanding consumers that, like me, who don't necessarily need Game Pass, that like to purchase physical, but also like to play online. I mean, we're out there. We exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Xbox Live has been around a long time. And I was willing to pay for gold because I just played so much online gaming. And but it's like, you know, there's so many everything subscriber now. It's too much. There's too much. There's too much. Nobody can afford all this. So now people have to look very selectively about which service they're going to use. And if Game Pass just doesn't have the games, I think people are going to start looking elsewhere. And I want to give a tip to people. If you are struggling, you don't have money, it's hard for you to play games, um, and you just can't pay for a service. If you have a gaming PC, download the Epic Game Store. They give away the best games. they just they just do. They just give away the best games. So definitely, if you don't have the Epic Game Store and you're a PC gamer and you want and you're low on money, I mean I don't know what you're doing. Get the Epic Game Store. All right. All right, next up. So this is an article from the Gamer. IO Interactive is planning to double its staff and open a second studio for Bond. Now, the title says a lot, but if you dig in here, you can see that IO Interactive has decided that they're not going to pin this new Bond game on a previous Bond personality, right?
Okay.
Like they're not going to say, yeah, this game is Daniel Craig or this game is
Any other Bond?
any other Bond. Um,
Timothy
so
Dalton, Pierce
so
Brosnan, Roger Moore,
yeah,
Sean
Pierce
Connery,
Brosnan, Roger Moore.
David Lazenby.
Yeah, you know all the Bonds.
I was like, this dude is struggling.
Dude, I've been having a hard time remembering names lately. I don't know what it is.
And
Um, and then of course the most popular Bond ever recently passed away.
Sean
Um,
Connery.
all right, so they're taking a different route, and I think that's good. So what they said in the article is they're gonna make a new Bond universe. All right, so they're probably gonna have their own Bond. They're probably gonna remodel like how Bond interacts with MI6 and all that stuff, and they're probably gonna take some liberties on Bond in general, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, what do you think?
Um, I mean, we've always gotten kind of like a new Bond. Bond has been something that isn't just static. It's
Hmm.
been kind of dynamic as the years roll by. We've had multiple Bonds. I just named a few. I said David Lazenby. I meant George Lazenby.
Okay.
And and what's it called? Like, I think it's par for the course to have a change in whatever way that they see fit, as long as it fits within the Bond theme, if you will.
Yes.
There's something about Bond, about being the secret agent, about being, the smooth spy, if you will,
Yeah.
that's very attractive. And so as long as they're able to capture that, yeah, why not?
Yeah. And they also said that they're planning a trilogy of games.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, they are taking a different approach. Yeah, I can't wait to see, man. I can't wait to see. I obviously Bond games in the golden years were great, like N64, but
That's
they've
honestly the only Bond game I've ever played.
yeah, they I've played a few others, but the last one I think was made in like 2012 or 2013.
For
I
the,
can't even remember, and I think it was a Daniel Craig game. I'm
for
not
the
sure.
Xbox 360, Bloodstone.
Yeah, and so yeah, the games haven't been. I don't think the games evolved properly with gaming. So IO Interactive, they do have a big leg up because they made the recent Hitman, which is a similar genre, right?
Yeah.
So you would think that they would, and also they said that when they pitched their idea for a Bond game, um, and they were granted the license, they said that almost everyone else since the last Bond game that has pitched a Bond game has been turned down. So obviously they're doing something that I think is good.
Either that
Something
or they're
that
desperate.
either that or they're desperate. But if people have been pitching for the last like 8 years and no one they've never taken it, so yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say is that and the only reason why I say desperate is because who owns it right now? Is it Warner Brothers? They're having a problem with No Time to Die, the most recent Bond film. They're unable to get anyone to distribute it
really?
for the amount of money that they want. They're asking for
Oh,
quite a bit
okay,
more.
okay,
So, and then with theaters in limbo, it's been quite difficult.
yeah, all right, all right. Next up, this is something we talked about. Capcom has overhauled its plans for a Resident Evil 4 remake. So this is on Video Game Chronicle. So you sent me a text in the week, and I got confused because the wording was kind of confusing.
Yes.
But essentially, what it said was Capcom is reducing M2's role because M2 wants to follow the original closely.
So just a point of reference, M2 is the developer behind Resident Evil 3, the remake, not the original.
Hmm.
And Resident Evil 2 was done in-house at Capcom by Division 1. So
Hmm.
M2 is a separate developer. M2, because of the lukewarm reception to Resident Evil 3 remake, um, Geo has a review on the channel if you want to see it. Because of that, the lukewarm reception to the changes that they've made for Resident Evil 3 remake, they kind of are responding to that, and they want to create Resident Evil 4 remake like very lovingly and practically remake it one for one from the original game. Capcom is looking at that and they're like, no, we don't really want it to be one for one. We want it to be kind of like Resident Evil 2 remake, where it gets the overall look and feel of the game, but it's modernized. It's updated for today.
Yeah,
So Capcom is taking it back in house with Division One taking over the reins. The same developer that worked on Resident Evil 2 remake.
yeah. So the question that you and everyone has is this good or bad? And I don't think we know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Time will tell because Resident Evil 2 remake, I love that
It's
game to
great.
death. I recently just 100%ed it this past summer. You know, thank you the pandemic.
And you were speed running it too, right?
Yes, because you have to get it. You have to, well, not speed running per se, but you have to get it under a certain time period at harder difficulty levels in order to unlock things and get all the trophies.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so much fun. I love that game. I still want to replay Resident Evil 3 remake. I enjoyed Resident Evil 3 remake, but I definitely understand the shortcomings. It is a shorter game, and it doesn't have the same punch that Resident Evil 2 remake had.
No,
So Resident Evil 4 remake does have some big shoes to fill.
it does. And Resident Evil 4 put that type of game on the map, that isometric over the shoulder type shooter, you know?
Yeah, that third person view. Yeah,
Yeah.
that Gears of War stole.
Yeah. I think Resident Evil 4 was the first
Yes, it was.
game to do
It
that
definitely
right.
was a revolutionary game.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, for people that don't know, yeah. So, since Resident Evil 4 was a revolutionary game, they got to do it right. So, I'm hoping that the reason why Capcom did this is because they saw not just that they were trying to stay faithful, but that they were in the wrong direction and they're trying to correct it. So we'll see. Like you said, time will tell.
Yes.
All right. Next up, Acquire Boss would like to make Tenchu successor for PS5. Now, I get a lot of comments on this channel about Tenchu, and so we have a lot of Tenchu fans that.
Why is that though? You gotta lay the groundwork. Why is that? Why do you get those comments?
Well, first of all, not many people talk about Tenchu. It's kind of an old, forgotten game that a lot of people just don't mention anymore. And I put out a video about it, and I guess people want a new Tenchu game. Um, so I'm gonna just kind of go over it briefly. So this came from Famitsu, um, and essentially, for those that don't know, Tenchu is a stealth ninja game, and it was very big on the PlayStation, and it's kind of just got left behind. Now, From Software, the makers of Dark Souls and Demon Souls, they own the IP. They bought it, and Sekiro was originally supposed to be a Tenchu game, but then they spun it off and turned it into its own thing, which I think is fine. I mean, I love Sekiro. It's a very hard game, but I still enjoyed playing it. But that kind of left the Tenchu people out in the cold. So now what happened was last year, Acquire, they they trademarked Stealth Assassins, which was one of the titles for a Tenchu game. Tenchu Stealth Assassin
This is the first one.
is the first one. And when they did that, people took notice and they were like, "Oh man, maybe they're gonna make a new Tenchu game." Well, the head of Acquire said, "No, no, no, no. That was just an advantageous um, like patent. We didn't really like. We weren't intending to make a new Tenchu game. We just saw that Stealth Assassins was open, so we took it, right?" But because of all the people who want a new Tenchu game and because of all the people who took notice, he said, "All right, now we want to make a Tenchu inspired game." Now, the reason I say Tenchu inspired is because From Software still owns the Tenchu IP. So they can't really make it unless they worked out a deal with From Software. But they can make a game just like Tenchu. They just have to call it something else. Maybe they'll just call it Stealth Assassins. I don't know if they can legally do that. Honestly, I don't know. But they're saying they want to make a game for PS5 now. So, yeah, everyone who's a Tenchu fan who follows this channel, who's been leaving comments, I hope that this comes true. I really do. And I used to love the Tenchu games on PlayStation. Um, they have a fond, like I can remember them to this day. I mean, I have a
Oh yeah,
fond place for them. Yeah.
Tenchu's amazing. I especially loved Wrath of Heaven. Wrath of
Yes.
Heaven. It's so funny because my roommate at the time he bought Wrath of Heaven. I never even played a Tenchu game until that one,
Hmm.
and he wasn't even playing it yet. He bought it because he thought it looked cool, but he wasn't even playing it yet. And I took it from him, and I was like, "I'm playing it. I'm gonna check this out." And I beat the game. I played it, and I feel like such a jerk right now just talking about it. But it is the reason why I played it. Like I even like because I wouldn't do that to someone. I wouldn't
Yes.
take their own thing and then like complete it before them. But that game made me that person.
Yes. Yeah.
It was just so much fun. I love playing. What was his name? Rin.
Yes.
Man, and that game was so cool. But that was from software too. And honestly, Sekiro did feel kind of Tenchu-ish.
Hmm.
It just wasn't leaning so heavily into the stealth part. It was more focused on the combat.
Yeah. And
Um,
a good friend of mine brought up a good point.
yeah,
It's it's hard to make a stealth only game now, like Tenchu or Siphon Filter or something like that, because stealth has been incorporated into almost every game now.
Last of
Um,
Us.
yes, Ghost of Tsushima. You know, you can play stealth if you want. There's a bunch of games now that just incorporate uh, Cyberpunk 2077. You can play stealth. So
Yeah.
it's just part of games now. You know what I mean? It's like a part of games now. So to make a truly like traditional stealth game, I think they have to innovate a little bit on because the default stealth is in most games now, so they have to go a step further. They have to innovate it a little bit more. So, but yeah, I would love to see a new Tenchu game.
I'm just saying, if there's a new Tenchu game, there still needs to be the ability to throw a poisoned rice ball on the
Yes.
ground, and some dumbass samurai is still gonna pick it up and be like,
Ooh, rice.
"Why not?"
Yeah. You
5 seconds.
need poison rice. Please, if you make another Tenchu game, there has to be poison rice. Or like
Yeah.
poison sake. Just poison something. You got to be able to poison people.
No, no, no. Poison rice ball. Just throw that sucker on the floor, roll it.
All right. So yeah, that's the latest on Tenchu. Thanks. I don't know the remember the guy's name, but he left a comment letting me know about this. So thank you.
Cool.
All right. Next up, Plex launches a subscription-based retro game streaming service, Plex Arcade. So this is on TechCrunch. So Plex, their streaming service, and they did this out of fun, I guess is what the article says. So what they did was they teamed up with Parsec, and you remember I told you about Parsec?
I can't recall.
So they're the company that allows you to stream a game from your PC
Mm-hmm.
and do like couch co-op because all the person on the other side has to do is run the Parsec app and they plug in their controller and Parsec picks it up and they send it to your computer like they just plugged in front of you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like the lag is stupid low. And this is how I play Marvel 3 with my friends. And Maximilian, he just did a tournament using Parsec. So this is legit technology.
Okay.
Um, so so yeah, um, this is old Atari games. All right, and they have 30 games. Here's a list. Some of the big names are Asteroids, Centipede, Food Fight, Millipede, Missile Command. Uh, yeah. So I'm only
All of the Atari hard hitting games.
yes. So look, I think it's cool. It's going to be $2.99 a month for existing members. For non-subscribers, it's going to be $4.99. But here's the thing. Like I said before, um, people are getting subscribed to death right now. Like you got to pay subscription fees for everything. If you want to play on your Switch online, you got to pay for that. You know, Xbox, PlayStation. It's just it's a lot. And when you look at the type of games that are on this Plex Arcade, very hardcore retro games. All right, these are not games that the
For the
average
faint of
person.
heart.
Yes, these are not. These are very difficult games. They're not I mean, they're so simplistic. I just don't see many kids or many casual people that might use Plex to use this thing. And so, well, I think it's interesting that they're doing this. I just don't see a market for it. Because, like I said, the people that are really going to play Atari games, they have arcades, they have Atari consoles, they have hardware. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, it's interesting, but I just don't see it working. I mean, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. And honestly, when we have things like say the Sega Genesis Mini, the TurboGrafx Mini, there's no lack of alternatives to get these kinds of experiences
Mhm.
in affordable and well-made means.
Yes.
So, and that's even a more, what's it called, a more true to form experience, to actually play on these controllers that were made to be just like the originals on Sega
Yes.
Genesis Mini, Super Nintendo Mini, what have you.
Yeah.
So, and like, doesn't Target do things like this? They have like those little plug and play consoles that play Asteroids and stuff like that. So I don't know. It doesn't. It seems like a weird way to get into gaming because it's not modern in any way.
No.
It's definitely feeding on nostalgia, but who's the audience? Who are you targeting?
Yeah.
Because if it is these older style gamers, they already have better methods of playing these games.
Yes. Yeah. So so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'm actually will not see. I'm not going to follow this. But I just I just thought I would let you all know because I think it's an interesting move. I just don't think it's going to work. I mean, that's just I'm being honest. But if it does blow up, I mean, I would be shocked. I'd be like, "Oh my god, who's playing these Atari games?"
It's the Reddit board,
Yeah.
Reddit board Plex gaming bets.
All right. And then next up, more bad news for Polymega fans that are waiting for. Or I can't even call you fans. Just people who are waiting to get a Polymega. If you pre-ordered a Polymega with Walmart, we've got bad news for you. This is by Nintendo Life. So essentially, what happened is uh, Polymega made a deal with Walmart to sell their consoles through Walmart, and they kept reaching out to Walmart to uh, kind of like figure out how they're going to do this, right? And let me just read this because it's kind of complicated. Walmart.com went through a personal change something in Q3, Q4 of last year, and since then have stopped responding to our emails and phone calls despite repeated attempts to get in contact with them. Regarding fulfillment of the North American pre-orders, we gave our 5+ contacts at Walmart.com and their distributor solutions to go ample time to respond and rectify the situation before several attempts to contact, but they have left us with no response, despite even the threat of legal action due to the significant issues this has all caused us. So essentially, Walmart was going to distribute the Polymega, right? Initially, the Polymega came out on their website. You had to buy it on their website. Then they said, no, Walmart's going to distribute it. Then people bought it on Walmart. Now they're saying Walmart won't even contact us. They won't even distribute them. So now we're going back to our website. So now they're telling everyone who has a Walmart pre-order, go in your account and cancel your pre-order because Walmart's not going to get them. They're not going to distribute them. I mean, this thing has been a mess from day one. I mean, they can't seem to get their act straight on this console. Now, am I blaming them for this Walmart thing? No, because it seems like Walmart just kind of left them out in the cold. And I know Walmart isn't known for the most friendly business tactics with their vendors. But it's just like there has to be a point where people go like, man, like I'm not sure I want to back Polymega anymore. You know what I mean? Like, why do I have to keep jumping through these hoops? Like, when is it gonna come out? Like, okay,
Did
now
you
I have
back
to
them?
cancel and I have to buy through you. Like, I don't know. What do you think, man?
Did you back them?
No,
I think the idea of the console is really cool.
it
Uh,
is.
I like the HD solution without jumping through all the hoops to play, Saturn games, Sega CD games, stuff like that. Uh, and it seems like an all-in-one, stop as long as you buy all the different modules for it.
which is it'll cost you $1,000.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll cost me $1,000 to get what? To get the SCART cables, to get the SCART connectors, to get the what's it called? The low latency inputs, outputs, what have you? All those different things. Like, don't tell me you haven't spent close to $1,000 already on retro consoles just to play all these things.
Yes, but that's original hardware. This is emulation. So
No, that's not original hardware. It's FPGA from analog. That's completely different.
no, no, I'm talking about you can just buy a Sega Saturn and get a HDMI converter,
True,
and you're
but
using original. That's what this is
but you
competing
didn't
with.
but you didn't do that with your Sega Saturn.
I,
You
I,
got
I
the
know.
what's it called? The Rhea?
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, this Polymega isn't. This is yes, it's competing with the FPGA, but it already loses because it's not an FPGA. It's emulation, right? So it's more. It's now. Look, I'm
Well,
not saying the concept's not cool.
it's more in tune with something like the Retron.
Yes, it's like a CD version of the Retron. The difference is that they built like an ecosystem where you can back up your games, so you only
Yes,
have to play them once.
and you can patch them via like an SD card.
Yes, so
And
that's the interesting part of the console to me, right?
yeah, no, that's a great selling
Yeah,
point. I agree, but in terms of the length of time that it's taken to even bring out the the lack of communication, it is very questionable, and I understand consumer disappointment
yeah,
and disbelief in this product as it is. I think it wasn't until recently that we got videos as like this thing exists.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much, like, and look, I want it to succeed. I want it to work because I like the idea of having a dedicated console that I can use to,
Play all these games.
yeah, not only play these games, but you know, when you buy a PlayStation game or a Sega Saturn game or a Sega CD game, you need to check them right away to make sure that they work, right? And you don't want to use them too much because the disc degrades, right? So this thing has like a you can plop in your Sega Saturn game, play the game. All right, I'm not telling anyone to do this. All
Well,
right,
it doesn't. You don't even have to play the game. It just records the ISO.
I know, but just like hear me out, hear me out. I'm not telling anyone to do this. All right, I'm not telling anyone to do this, but you could play the game, store it to your Polymega, and then just sell it immediately. You can get these games and play them forever and only have it and pay nothing.
Geo, I thought we weren't giving financial advice.
So you see why I'm interested in this console. I mean, it and also it like it is a one stop solution for the CD-ROM based consoles. It can play Neo Geo CD, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, PlayStation, and then you can plop in the visual modules, right? So yeah, it would save a lot of space. And as far as
Yes,
I've heard, the emulation is very well done.
that's what I've heard.
Yeah. So I'm interested, but I haven't backed him yet because of all this nonsense.
Fair,
You
and
know?
and you're well within your right to do so.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So I'm debating if they say, "Look, this is it. This is the last thing. You pre-order with us now, you'll get it in a couple months." If they said that, then I might consider it. You know? But there's a lot of people who pre-ordered on Walmart who might not get this news and will be left hanging, you know? And they'll be like, "Man, where's my Polymega? Where's my, and
But to be honest, I think nowadays people should very be wary of that no matter what.
yeah,
Especially in the time that we live in where there's Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns. Like I've backed Bloodstained. I put $300 on that bad boy, and I could have definitely not received it.
yeah,
I've backed a couple of other games that I'm probably never going to get. And I've backed other games that, haven't even come out yet. The new one that's coming out by the Suikoden creators,
hmm
100 something. I forgot the name, but I definitely put some money into that. I put money into Battle Chasers, and that game came out all right.
yeah,
So, these are the risks we take when we pre-order or subscribe to something, try to support something like that. You have to understand that you might not get what you're expecting, or you might not get it at all.
yes. So, like I said,
My heart goes out to everyone that put money behind Mighty Number Nine.
yeah, yeah, man. Let's not talk about that game. Um, so yeah, just to circle it up, I hope this thing is a success because, like you and me covered, there's so many cool things you can do with this console.
Yeah,
It is
I'm
unique.
excited about it,
Yeah,
but I need it to exist.
yeah. It needs to exist first. So yeah, that's it. That's the show today, everyone. We hope you like it. Please leave comments below. Let us know what you think. And if you like any of these videos, please like and subscribe. That helps us a lot. Yeah, we'll see you all next time.
And if you don't like it, be constructive with your feedback.
Yeah, be constructive. Don't just say you guys suck. That helps no one. All right.
Take care. Keep gaming.
Keep gaming. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Games I Speak. If you liked the episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.